You know that moment when your entire world collapses in the span of about 30 seconds? When everything you've worked for, everything you've sacrificed for, everything you've believed in just evaporates into thin air? When the ground beneath your feet disappears, and you're left falling into a void with no idea how to catch yourself? When every memory you've ever made becomes tainted by the realization that it was all built on a foundation of lies? That was me at 9:47 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, standing in my lawyer's office, staring at a stack of bank statements that would destroy everything I thought I knew about my life, my family, and the woman I had trusted most in the world. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My mind was racing, trying to process what I was reading. The office was elegant, with leather chairs and a mahogany desk, but I felt like the walls were closing in on me. I had to grip the edge of the desk to keep from collapsing. The lawyer, Mr. Harrison, watched me with sympathetic eyes, but he couldn't possibly understand. No one could. My name is Alexandra. I am 44 years old. I have been married to my husband Marcus for 22 years. We have 2 children together, a daughter named Olivia, who is 21, and a son named Benjamin, who is 18. We have a beautiful home in an exclusive gated community, the kind with manicured lawns and neighbors who wave when they drive by. We have a golden retriever named Charlie who thinks he's a lapdog. We have a vacation home on the beach and a ski condo in the mountains. We are that family, the one with the perfect lawn, the perfect holidays, the perfect social media posts that make everyone else feel inadequate. I am a successful accountant. I have built my career from the ground up, one client at a time. I have always believed in honesty, in integrity, in doing what is right. I believed my family was one of those things. Right? True? Built to last? My mother used to say that numbers don't lie, they tell the truth even when people won't. Those words were echoing in my head as I stared at the statements. The numbers were telling a truth I didn't want to hear. Marcus is a successful surgeon, the kind of man who commands respect when he walks into a room. He is tall, handsome, and has a gentle smile that makes you feel safe. He is also kind, thoughtful, and completely devoted to his family. He is the kind of man other women wish their husbands were like. He is the kind of father every child deserves. I watched him with our children, helping Benjamin with his college applications, teaching Olivia how to drive, and I thought my heart might burst with gratitude. Now I wonder how much of that life was real, and how much was a carefully constructed illusion. I met him when I was 22, fresh out of college and working my first real job at a small accounting firm. He was 28, already on his way to the top. He swept me off my feet from the very first moment. He was everything I had ever wanted in a man. He was kind, intelligent, and he made me feel like I was the most important person in the world. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. It was a fairy tale proposal, the kind you see in movies. He took me to a beautiful restaurant overlooking the city, got down on one knee, and told me he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. I said yes, of course. I was madly in love with him. I could not imagine my life without him. He was my everything. Our wedding was beautiful, a lavish affair with hundreds of guests, a 5-tier cake, and a live band. I wore a designer dress that made me feel like a princess, and I walked down the aisle on my father's arm. When I saw Marcus waiting for me at the altar, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. I thought I had it all. I thought I was living the dream. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. Those bank statements in my hand showed that my children's inheritance was gone. Every single penny. The money that my parents had left for them, the money that was supposed to pay for their education, their future, their lives. It was all gone. It had been stolen by someone I trusted, by someone I had welcomed into my home, my life, my family, by my sister-in-law. Miranda had always been a difficult woman. She was cold, calculating, and had never approved of me. From the moment I met her, she'd made it clear that I wasn't good enough for her precious brother. She'd make snide comments about my clothes, my job, my background. She'd question my parenting, my cooking, my housekeeping. Nothing I did was ever good enough for her. At family gatherings, She'd find a way to cut me down with a backhanded compliment. That dress is so brave. Alexandra, I could never wear something so bold. Or, it must be nice to have a simple career where you just do people's taxes. I'd smile and let it slide, but her words were tiny cuts that never fully healed. She was 41 years old, divorced twice, and had a string of failed business ventures behind her. She had always been jealous of my success, my happiness, my perfect life. She had always wanted what I had. She had always felt that I had stolen her brother from her, that I had taken her place in his life, that I had everything she deserved. Marcus told me once that she'd never approved of any woman he dated, but with me, it was different. She saw me as a genuine threat, not just to her relationship with her brother, but to the entire family dynamic she had controlled for years. I had tried to be patient. I had tried to be understanding. I had tried to be kind. I had invited her to dinner, included her in family events, and made sure she felt welcome. I had bought her thoughtful gifts for her birthday, remembered her favorite foods, and made an effort to connect with her. I had done everything I could think of to bridge the gap between us, but nothing I did was ever good enough. She'd accept my gifts with a thin smile and then ignore them. She'd show up to dinner and spend the evening making passive-aggressive remarks. She was a master of making me feel like an outsider in my own home. And now, she had crossed a line. She had stolen my children's inheritance. She had taken the money that my parents had worked their whole lives to save. She had taken my children's future. When my parents died, they had left a substantial trust fund for my children. It was meant to pay for their education, their weddings, their first homes. It was meant to give them a head start in life. It was meant to honor my parents' memory. My mother had told me on her deathbed that the trust was her final gift to Olivia and Benjamin, a way to ensure they would always be cared for. I had promised her I would protect it. Now that promise was broken. I had trusted Miranda to help manage the trust fund. She was a financial advisor after all. She had seemed so knowledgeable, so trustworthy. She had offered to help after my parents' funeral, her eyes soft with sympathy. Let me handle the trust. She'd said, it's the least I can do to help you during this difficult time. She had seemed like the perfect person to help me protect my children's future. She had presented herself as an expert, a family member who cared. I had been grieving, overwhelmed, and I had believed her. I had handed over the keys to my children's future without a second thought. I had been wrong. She had been planning this all along. I confronted her that night. I went to her apartment, my heart pounding, my hands shaking. The drive over felt surreal, the streetlights blurring past as I rehearsed what I would say. I banged on her door until she opened it. "Where is it, Miranda?" I demanded. "Where is my children's money?" "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice cold and steady. "I haven't touched any money." She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, a smirk playing at the corner of her lips. She was enjoying this. I could see it in her eyes. "Don't lie to me. I have the bank statements. I know you took it. I know you stole from my children. Just give it back, and I won't press charges." "I didn't take anything," she said, her eyes narrowing. "You're just trying to blame me because you're jealous. You've always been jealous of me. You've always tried to make me look bad." "Jealous of you? What do I have to be jealous of? I have a good job, a good marriage, a good life. You have nothing. You've never had anything. And now you've stolen from my children." My voice was shaking with rage. I had never spoken to anyone like this before, but something inside me had snapped. "I didn't steal anything," she said, her voice rising. "And even if I did, you couldn't prove it. So why don't you just leave me alone? Why don't you just go back to your perfect life and leave me alone?" "I will leave you alone," I said, my voice cold. "But I'm going to find the proof. And when I do, I'm going to destroy you." I walked away. I didn't look back. I couldn't. My legs felt like jelly as I descended the stairs, and I had to grip the railing to keep from collapsing. The tears I'd been holding back finally spilled over. Hot and furious. I had never felt so violated, so utterly betrayed. I started doing some digging. I needed to find the proof. I needed to know exactly what she had done. I needed to know how to stop her. I was an accountant. I knew how to investigate. I knew how to find the truth. And I was going to find every single detail of her scheme. I cleared my schedule, told my family I was dealing with a complex work crisis, and dedicated myself to unraveling the web she had woven. I hired a private investigator. I gave him Miranda's name. I told him to dig deep. I told him to find everything. I told him I wanted to know every detail of her deception. His name was Frank, a retired detective with a quiet, methodical manner. He promised me discretion and results. What he found made my blood run cold. Miranda had been planning this for years. She had been systematically siphoning money from my children's trust fund. She had been forging my signature. She had been hiding her tracks. She had been living a lavish lifestyle, funded by my children's money. Frank showed me photographs of her on expensive vacations, driving a new sports car, wearing designer clothes, all purchased with the money meant for Olivia and Benjamin's futures. But that wasn't all. I also found out that Miranda had been stealing from her own clients. She had been embezzling money from her firm. She had been taking out loans in her clients' names. She had been destroying their lives, one family at a time. Frank found evidence of multiple victims, elderly couples who had lost their retirement savings, single parents who had lost their children's college funds. She was a predator, and she had been hunting the vulnerable for years. I had her. I had all the evidence I needed to destroy her. I didn't confront her again right away. I needed time to process. I needed to figure out what to do. I needed to understand the full scope of what she had done. I was an accountant. I knew how to investigate. I knew how to find the truth, and I was going to find every single detail of her scheme. I spent long nights at my desk, surrounded by documents and photographs, piecing together the puzzle of her crimes. I started doing more digging. I went through her financial records, her bank statements, her credit card bills. I found evidence of her theft, her lies, her deception. I found evidence of her embezzlement from my children's trust fund. I found evidence of her fraud against her clients. The sheer volume of it was staggering. She had been living a double life, stealing from everyone who trusted her. I also found evidence of something else, something that made my blood run even colder. Miranda had been planning to take everything from me. She had been planning to destroy my marriage. She had been planning to take my husband. She had been planning to take my children. She had been planning to take my life. I found emails where she talked about me. She called me names. She mocked me. She laughed at me. She planned my destruction. She planned my downfall. She planned to take everything I had. Once she's out of the picture, I can finally have what I deserve. I can finally have the life I've always wanted. I can finally be happy. I can finally be free from her. She's so oblivious. She has no idea what's coming. She trusts me completely. She's so easy to manipulate. She's so easy to control. She's so easy to destroy. I can't wait to see the look on her face when she loses everything. I can't wait to see her destroyed. I can't wait to see her broken. I can't wait to see her suffer. I can't wait to see her lose everything she loves. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare at those words, at the proof of a betrayal that was so deep, so complete, so devastating that I couldn't even begin to process it. She wasn't just a thief. She was a monster. She was a predator. She was a sociopath. She was a woman who would stop at nothing to get what she wanted. She was a woman who would destroy anyone who got in her way. She was a woman who would kill to get what she wanted. I found evidence that she had been planning to kill me. She had been researching ways to make it look like an accident. She had been planning to poison me, to push me down the stairs, to cause a car accident. She had been planning to kill me and take everything I had. There were browser histories filled with searches like "how to make death look accidental" and "untraceable poisons." She had notes on my schedule, my commute, my eating habits. She had turned our family connection into a blueprint for my elimination. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. But I was also determined. I gathered all the evidence I had. The financial records, the bank statements, the forged documents, the fake accounts, the emails, the text messages, the photos, the proof of her theft, the proof of her lies, the proof of her betrayal, the proof of her plans to kill me. I organized it all into a binder, every page, a testament to her crimes. I had everything I needed to destroy her. But I didn't want to just destroy her. I wanted to make sure she could never hurt anyone, ever again. I wanted to make sure she would never have the chance to do to anyone else what she had done to me. So I started planning my revenge. I contacted my lawyer. I told him everything. I showed him the evidence. I told him what I wanted. His name was Robert, a sharp-eyed man who had handled several high-profile fraud cases. He reviewed the documents and nodded grimly. "Mrs. Davis," he said, "you have a very strong case. Your sister-in-law has committed fraud, embezzlement, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit murder. She has been stealing from you. She has been lying to you. She has been planning to kill you. I can help you. I can make sure she pays for what she's done. What about my children's money? What about their inheritance? The money will be recovered. The assets will be frozen. Your sister-in-law will be held accountable. She will face the consequences of her actions." "Good," I said. "That's what I want. I want my children's money back. I want my name cleared. I want my reputation restored. And I want her to pay for what she's done." I also contacted the police. I gave them the evidence. I told them everything I knew about Miranda's crimes. I told them about the embezzlement, the fraud, the identity theft, the secret accounts, the plans to kill me. Detective Alvarez, a sharp-eyed woman who had seen too much evil to be surprised by anything, listened intently and assured me they would move quickly. She was arrested a few weeks later. They took her from her apartment in the early morning, before she could slip away. She was charged with multiple felonies. She was facing serious time. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When Marcus found out, he was devastated. He had been completely taken in by her. He had trusted her, loved her, defended her, often telling me I was being too harsh, that Miranda was just misunderstood, and she had been destroying his wife the whole time. He came home that night, his face ashen, and sat down heavily at the kitchen table. "She used me," he said, his voice breaking. "She used me for my money, my connections, my access. She never loved me. She never cared about me at all. She just wanted to destroy you. She just wanted to take everything you had." "I know," I said, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of sympathy for him. "She used you, just like she used all the others. I'm so sorry, Alexandra. I'm so sorry for everything. I should have listened to you. I should have believed you. I should have protected you." "It's too late for that," I said. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with it." The trial was brutal. Miranda sat in the courtroom, her face pale, her hands shaking. She tried to defend herself. She tried to spin the story. She claimed she was a victim too. She claimed I had manipulated her. She claimed she had been coerced. She claimed she had been in love. But the evidence was overwhelming. The financial records, the bank statements, the forged documents, the fake accounts, the emails, the text messages, the photos. It was all there. Everything she had done. Everything she had planned. Everything she had tried to hide. I testified for 2 days, walking the jury through every lie, every theft, every betrayal. By the end, I saw the faces of the jurors harden into something resolute. The jury found her guilty on all counts: fraud, embezzlement, identity theft, conspiracy to commit murder. She was facing a long prison sentence. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When the verdict was read, she looked at me with hatred in her eyes. "You'll regret this," she said. "You'll regret destroying my life. You'll regret everything. I'll get out. I'll come after you. I'll make you pay. I'll make you suffer. I'll make you wish you were dead." I looked back at her, my face calm, my voice steady. "I'm not destroying your life. You destroyed your own life. You made choices. You made mistakes. And now you have to live with them." She was led away in handcuffs. I watched her go and I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, just relief. It was finally over. She could never hurt me again. After the trial, I started the long process of rebuilding my life. My children's money was recovered. My name was cleared. My reputation was restored. I went back to work, and I was welcomed with open arms. My clients had believed in me. My friends had supported me. My family had stood by me. But I was changed. The experience had changed me. I was more cautious, more guarded, more protective of my boundaries. I didn't trust as easily as I used to. I didn't give my heart away as freely. I started going to therapy. I needed to process everything. I needed to work through the trauma. I needed to learn how to trust again. My therapist, Dr. Langley, helped me untangle the mess of grief, rage, and self-blame that had consumed me for so long. Alexandra, my therapist said one day, "You've been through a terrible ordeal. You've been betrayed by someone you trusted. You've been through a trauma that would break most people. But you're still standing. You're still fighting. And that takes incredible strength." "Thank you," I said. "I don't feel strong. I feel broken. I feel like I'll never be whole again." "You will be whole again," she said. "It will take time. It will take patience. But you will heal. You will find your way back to yourself." I also started spending more time with my family. My children needed me. My husband needed me. My family needed me. They had been through so much. They had lost their aunt to her greed. They had lost their trust in family. They needed to know that they were loved, that they were safe, that they were enough. Olivia, my 21-year-old, had been especially shaken. She had always idolized her Aunt Miranda. We spent long nights talking, crying, trying to make sense of the senseless. We started going on vacations, not the extravagant trips we used to take, but quiet getaways where we could just be together. We started having family dinners where no phones were allowed. We started talking about our feelings. We started healing together. We took a trip to the mountains, just the four of us, and spent a week hiking, cooking together, and relearning how to be a family. It was the first time I felt something like peace. It was a long process. There were many dark days. There were many moments when I wanted to give up. But I didn't. I couldn't. I had come too far. I had fought too hard. I had survived too much. I realized that the best revenge was not in destroying her. The best revenge was in thriving, in building a better life, in becoming the best version of myself, in showing her that she could not destroy me, in showing her that I was stronger than she ever imagined. I also started to speak out. I told my story to anyone who would listen. I wrote articles. I gave interviews. I shared my experience with others. I wanted to help other families who had been through similar situations. I wanted to show them that they could survive. They could thrive. They could rebuild. I created a support group for families who had been betrayed by their own relatives. It started small, just a few families in a church basement. But it grew and grew and grew. Soon, there were dozens of us, then hundreds, then thousands. We shared our stories. We supported each other. We helped each other heal. I met women who had been betrayed by sisters, by mothers, by brothers. We were a sisterhood of survivors, and we lifted each other up. I also started to focus on my career. I was promoted to senior partner at my firm. I was recognized for my leadership, my integrity, my vision. I was making a difference. I was building something meaningful. I started a scholarship fund for victims of financial fraud, something that gave my pain a purpose. And I was happy, truly happy, for the first time in a long time. I also started to rebuild my relationship with Marcus. It was hard, it was slow, but we were making progress. He had been blind, but he had also been manipulated. He went to therapy, both alone and with me. He learned to listen, truly listen, without defending his sister. He started showing up for me in ways he never had before, defending me in front of his family, acknowledging the pain I'd endured, and finally being the partner I'd always needed. We were learning to trust each other again. We were learning to love each other again. We had been through hell, and we had come out the other side. We were stronger than ever. It's been 3 years since everything happened. 3 years since I discovered the betrayal. 3 years since I destroyed the person who had hurt me. 3 years since I started to rebuild my life. I'm happy. I'm at peace. I have everything I ever wanted. A loving husband, beautiful children, a successful career, a life filled with joy. Miranda is still in prison. She is serving a long sentence. She has been abandoned by everyone she loved. Her family has disowned her. Her friends have deserted her. She is alone, forgotten, lost. I don't think about her much. She is not worth my time. She is not worth my energy. She is not worth my thoughts. I have forgiven her, in my own way. Not because she deserves it. Not because I have forgotten what she did. But because I can't carry that anger around forever. It was too heavy. It was destroying me. I had to let it go. I have learned a valuable lesson. Trust is fragile. Once it is broken, it is almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes, the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who betray you the deepest. But that doesn't mean you should stop trusting. It doesn't mean you should stop loving. It just means you should be careful. You should protect yourself. You should always be vigilant. You should always trust your instincts. Loved this story? Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a video. I upload brand new stories every single day. Gripping, emotional, and packed with twists that'll keep you guessing until the very end. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you all the feels. Comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's experiences. Got a story idea? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become the next video on this channel. Subscribe now and join our growing family of story lovers. New videos drop daily at 7 a.m. EST. Perfect to watch with your morning coffee. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. You always have been, and you always will be.